Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join Master Coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
You are a really good mom, and I know that you love your kids with your whole heart. I do too. But what we're going to talk about today is the idea that they can be exhausting. And you can feel sometimes like the family dumping ground where everyone brings their problems and you're supposed to fix them or listen to them. And they just hand you their problems and go away and they feel so much better and you end up feeling like crap. And you're supposed to be that someone in the family that takes care of everything and makes everything better for the people around you without ever losing her cool. And when we think about motherhood and how exhausting it can be, oftentimes we think about the physical toll of laundry and carpool and homework reminders and all of those things. But it's not just that physical side. It's the expectation that we're supposed to do all those things with a smile on our face and never be annoyed. So today I've got a few ideas for you on what to do when you are exhausted and annoyed with the people that you live with. Some do's and don'ts for when your kids are getting on your very last nerve. Here we go. Number 1, do remind yourself early and often that you are a good mom, even in this moment. It's normal to be irritated by other humans. Okay, nothing has gone wrong. When you lose your shit about finding the socks under the couch for the 1100th time. We know intellectually it's normal to be irritated by other humans. But somehow when it comes to our kids, like it's fine when we're annoyed at our coworker who chews chips too loud. But when it comes to our kids, we feel bad that we get annoyed. Like we have this impossible ideal that we should never be annoyed, and especially not over minor things. And I just want to remind you that you are a human and humans get annoyed. And the sheer amount of proximity you have to your family increases the number of times you're going to be annoyed. So don't add the I'm a terrible mom because I'm hiding in the hotel gym on a family vacation because I just need 30 minutes alone. Don't add that guilt layer on top of the annoyed layer. Okay, then that guilt layer, I think of it kind of like saran wrap, like you're saran wrapping in the annoyed. And if you're just willing to feel the annoyed and not tell yourself you're a bad mom over it, that is going to get out of your system so much faster than if you add that guilt saran wrap layer over it. Okay, so still totally go to the gym and give yourself the gift of 30 minutes of peace and let that annoyance out by being willing to feel it without feeling bad that you need 30 minutes where nobody needs anything from you. Okay? So number 1 is remind yourself that you are a good mom. You're not a bad mom for needing this. Number 2 is don't tell yourself that someday you will miss these times in a way that makes you feel bad. Thinking back to the vacation when I was hiding in the hotel gym, I felt bad because I felt like here I had this time with my kids and I was squandering it with being annoyed, telling myself that wasting this time on this family trip when we were supposed to be making memories that last a lifetime. Okay, that was another one of those guilt layers. It's kind of funny when you think about it. You're worried about wasting time being annoyed, and then you waste time worrying about wasting time about being annoyed. And so you can see how that vicious cycle kind of builds on itself. Okay, and this telling yourself that one day you'll miss these times is especially popular with parents of seniors in high school. Okay, they especially feel like the time is running out, or that first year they're away and they come home from college and you guys have both adjusted to like a new normal. They've adjusted to a higher level of independence. And so have you, really. And then you want to like savor every moment they're home, but there's all these adjustment issues that come up when they're home for the first time, and you feel bad that you're wasting this time while they're home, and it's just a mess. So just don't tell yourself that someday you're going to miss these times. Okay, that's another one of those guilt layers that doesn't allow the irritation to just come and go quickly on its own. Number 3, don't take their moods too seriously. This one is especially true that senior year when they're transitioning from high school to whatever their next chapter is. That year is so pressure-filled for so many kids that all kinds of behavior crops up that you haven't seen before and that you don't like. And letting them off the hook this year, letting yourself off the hook because you also are having all kinds of big emotions, it doesn't mean that you're a doormat. It's more like not making their irritating behavior mean anything about the job that you did raising them or about the adults that they're going to become, about their future prospects. Okay? What helped me here was almost like a casual disregard for the behavior that I was seeing that I knew was related to the pressure that they were feeling. This one can be a little tricky to do if you're already irritated. If you're already irritated, then telling yourselves that you shouldn't take their mood too seriously is not going to work. But if you can get ahead of it, this is a great tip. And having this practice helped me both feel less annoyed, and it helped me with the temptation to give them unsolicited advice. Okay, the less I plugged into their mood, the less I took it seriously, the less I felt compelled to help them solve their problem. And I know that I'm putting that in air quotes because what I viewed as helpful advice, they viewed as unsolicited advice. And that brings us to number 4. Don't let people give you advice when you just want to vent. If you need to complain about what ungrateful cretins you've raised, open your rant with, I just need to vent. And you can even have a friend that you have an agreement with that you can vent with or without advice, and set that up in advance so they know when to offer you advice and when to just let you go. And truly, to make this more effective, you need to start noticing when you're having a pressure releasing vent session and when you're stewing, because there is a difference. When you're just letting off the steam of that moment and you're done and you let it go, like that feels amazing. So often that's what kids are doing with us, right? Like they're just releasing the pressure that they've had from the school day. And then we jump in with advice and it turns into a whole thing and it's terrible. And just like our kids need that pressure releasing vent at the end of the day, we do too. Number 5 is to start noticing the difference between the pressure releasing vent and stewing. For me, that felt sense is often when I hear myself restarting the story. Okay? Like you've gone through the story once about, that thing that they did, and you can hear when you're circling back around and going over the events again. Or another cue that I get sometimes is like a little note of boredom. Like I'm still maybe angry about it, but I'm also starting to notice boredom creeping in because it's not really that interesting, that thing that I'm complaining about. And so I get a little bored listening to myself. Or another cue that I notice sometimes is it feels just a little bit less hot. Like I can feel physically, like in my solar plexus, that place, xiphoid process, that place where your ribs come together. Like for me, that's where I feel anger most. And I'll notice when the heat is kind of gone out of what I'm complaining about. And that's usually a signal that I'm shifting from ranting into stewing. Okay, ranting can be useful to just get it out and process the emotion. But stewing, you're actually kind of cementing this incident into your memory, and you definitely don't want to do that. Okay? When I was first training myself to notice this, what was helpful was a time limit. I would give myself 2 minutes to complain about something. I would literally tell my husband or a friend, I need 2 minutes to complain about this and don't let me go over. And it's kind of funny because in the beginning, I would notice the time creeping out and I would just talk really fast to try to get it all out. But setting that firm time limit helped me to start to delineate, like I said, the difference between just releasing the pressure and stewing and cementing in the memory. And if you find yourself going much over that 2 minutes, my suggestion to you is to switch to venting on paper. And this is actually something that I teach my clients to do on a regular basis, not just when they're upset, but it's to get all of your thoughts about a topic out on paper. Because when they're in your head, they're kind of all jumbled in together, and we almost don't notice what we're thinking. We almost don't have a clear idea of what we're really thinking about something. And when you dump all of those thoughts out on paper and you look at them, you get just a little bit of distance from them. And that can be really useful. And I'm laughing a little bit because it's more work to write all your thoughts down. And so you can give yourself a little bit more time. For me, 5 minutes is usually sufficient. Sometimes it takes 10. But even 5 to 10 minutes is way less time than most of us spend when we get mad about something. Okay, that can go on all evening or all day. And so to take 5 or 10 minutes to write down and get it all out and look at that and get a little bit of distance from it can actually end up being a time saver. And I'm also laughing a little bit because the writing it down part, it's more work. So we tend to want to vent less. The extra work it takes to write all those thoughts down help us get over it more quickly. Okay? Because you can't write 10 minutes about how annoyed you are that they never pick up their socks and don't they know that you work hard all day. And you just can't write 10 minutes about that. But if you're venting to a friend, for sure, I have seen friends, I've seen clients, I've done it myself, where the vents just go on and on and on. Okay. And like I said, when you're doing that, you're actually cementing those bad feelings into your memory rather than just releasing the pressure. Number 6 is to make sure that all your physical needs are met. If you're feeling really irritated about something that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, intellectually, it doesn't matter that much, that everything is fine, but you're still feeling really annoyed, make sure you're not hungry, thirsty, tired, need some fresh air, need 5 minutes alone. Don't underestimate the power of hangry. I have a client I'm thinking of in particular who used to forget to eat in the hecticness of her days. And then she would find herself really annoyed about their morning routine and getting out of the house. And she would find herself thinking about it and being frustrated by it, well into the morning. And what helped her feel more peaceful in her family was making sure that her own basic needs were met, putting a structure into her morning so that she got to eat too. This one kind of goes along with number 3, where I said, don't take their moods too seriously. If it is 11 o'clock at night and you're tired from your long day and you're feeling super irritated, you could just be tired. It could have nothing to do with you or your kids or the situation even. It could just be that you're tired. Don't underestimate the impact of meeting your physical needs. It's easier to meet our emotional needs when our physical needs have been met. And, especially in our Western society, it's like we pretend that we don't have a body that has needs. And we think everything that happens has to do with our thoughts and our thinking. And it's just not true. Okay. That all of that happens within the context of a physical body. And so we need to meet our physical needs in order to be emotionally healthy as well. At the heart of all of these suggestions, like the common thread that runs through these 6 suggestions, is the idea that nothing has gone wrong if you are annoyed by your kids. It's just part of the human parenting experience. And honestly, I swear animals look annoyed with their kids too. If you've ever seen a picture of like a mama dog and there's like baby dogs nursing and crawling all over her and she just looks like she's totally over it. Like, I feel that puppy. So when you are feeling annoyed, the most helpful thing you can do is to let yourself fully feel annoyed and then let it go. Check in and make sure that you don't physically need something, that you're not hungry, tired. And for sure, do not saran wrap in those annoyed feelings by adding in a layer of guilt or shame. Okay? Just feel those feelings, give yourself what you need, and move on. And it will pass quickly because you know what? You are a good mom. Nothing has gone wrong. You've totally got this. You're raising great kids, even though in this moment, in this red hot moment, it might not feel like it. You are. You've got this. Talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to Parenting Successful Teens. If you enjoyed today's show, then I've got a treat for you. I have a free guide that teaches you how to get your teenagers to tell you about their day. No more one-word answers. And grabbing this guide is super easy. Just text the phrase "Get Teens Talking" as all one word, no spaces, to the number 44222. So that's the phrase "Get Teens Talking" without any spaces to the number 44222. And then you'll be prompted to give the email address that you want the guide sent to, and then it shows up in your email box just like magic. You know what else is magic? Having teenagers that talk to you. Now, I can't promise that you're going to like everything they have to say, but I can promise better conversations. Grab the guide, and I'll talk to you next week.